Welcome to the Pathfinder Legacy Podcast, where we help farmers, ranchers, and business owners create a seamless transition plan for the future. From retirement to ownership transfer, we protect what you've built and guide you every step of the way.
Hello, all. Welcome to Pathfinder Legacy, the show where farm families turn hard conversations into real plans. I'm your host, Heidi Olson, and this month we've been unpacking where life insurance fits your succession plan. Today is our Mailbag episode. I have 5 common scenarios, what good looks like and what goes wrong when we miss a step. Quick note, this is education, not legal or tax advice. Work with your attorney, CPA, lender, and a licensed insurance pro. I work with you and your team to make sure you have the best plan guide. I work with you and your team to make sure you have the best guided plan. Grab the policy ownership and beneficiary map in the show notes. Ready? Let's open the mailbag. All right. When I open the mailbag, so I have scenario 1, and here's what the listener had to ask. We have 3 kids. 1 runs the farm, 2 don't. Land is in an LLC. Equipment is owned personally. We want fairness without having to sell land. How do we use insurance to make that happen? The good version of what works. Bill wanted to equalize the 2 off-farm heirs at $200,000 each. The money lands first into the family plan folder. Bill's trust is the owner and beneficiary. It receives the policy proceeds. What happens next? The trustee follows Bill's written instructions. Each off-farm child gets their amount on a schedule. For example, half at 6 months and the second half at 12 months. So the farm cash flow isn't slowed down. The on-farm child receives the operating entity interest via Bill's estate plan. Why does this work? The dollars pass through the trust, not to the individual. So distributions match the plan that Bill wanted, and timing is controlled to not affect cash flow of the farm. The bad version, what breaks? Policy beneficiary says it only goes to the spouse individually. Money bypasses the estate plan and does not go to fund the trust. The payment schedule isn't followed. Siblings get anxious for their payout, and the on-farm child can't plan around surprise withdrawals from the farm to buy out his siblings. Transfer on death deeds also went in equal shares to all children, leaving the on-farm child to be in business with off-farm siblings. Now, those off-farm siblings are at the doorstep with their hands open for their checks. How do we fix this? Name the bill to be paid prior to within your estate plan. Route to the trust first. Put the payment schedule in writing. 6 months, 12 months, when do you want those off-farm beneficiaries paid? Double check transfer on death deeds and account beneficiaries to match the plan. Mailbag question 2. This listener wrote in and asked this question. Dad's 72 with health stuff. I'm taking over, but can't qualify for a big loan. What are realistic insurance options now? The good version. Layer your funding. Does Dad have a smaller policy he can qualify for, or does he currently have a policy he can list you as the beneficiary? If so, put it in writing to use to purchase the farm and a buy, sell, or contract for deed agreement. Down payment is paid by policy proceeds at death, and the balance is paid over 5 years at a fair rate so the farm can still operate. Backup cash. If you have an LLC, it keeps a modest sinking fund post-harvest and has a pre-approved line of credit. What if you're uninsurable? Insure the successor, you as the son, as the key person risk, and document the staged buyout. The bad version. Waiting for a perfect policy that never issues. So there's no down payment, no line of credit, and no written installment plan, forcing equipment or land sales to close the buyout. What's your fix-it checklist for this scenario? Check your policy to make sure it is the right size. Do you have enough coverage to meet your needs of the down payment or buy the farm? Put the installment note in the buy-sell or contract for deed agreements. Maintain a small sinking fund for operating cash to get through the year. Pre-arrange bank support. Make sure your ag lender is up to date on the plan. Okay, scenario number 3 is a sneaky one because the documents and the dollars don't match. This is what this listener had to ask. Our agreement says redemption. The LLC buys back shares at death, but our policies are cross-owned by the members. Are we okay? Well, let's talk about the bad version first. The agreement says the LLC will buy shares, but money lands in the surviving member's personal account due to cross-ownership. The LLC in this case lacks cash. Basis of tax outcomes differ from the expectations that were only verbalized. I can't express this enough. Expectations need to be a solid plan in writing. What's the good version here? Pick a lane and make sure you're in alignment. If redemption, LLC owns and is the beneficiary. Funds land in the LLC buys shares. If cross-purchase, surviving members own and are beneficiaries. They receive the funds and buy shares directly. Update the valuation method, appraisal, or have a valuation formula, and keep face amounts current. What's the fix-it on this one? Match ownership beneficiary to the agreement. Verbalize expectations. What's the fix-it checklist here? Match ownership or beneficiaries to the agreement. Verbal expectations are not a plan. Update the valuation language. Calendar a review date annually. If insurance isn't a set, life insurance isn't a set it and forget it. You need to check it at least once a year and every time your family, farm, or finances change in a big way. All right, on to scenario number 4. Debt spikes and the operating line jumps. In this one, the listener wrote in, our input costs doubled this year and our operating line went way up. Do we add term or restructure our permanent policy? All right, well, here's partial good version. Is this a temporary spike? Add a term rider, or I would suggest more on the line as permanent, using a dividend-paying whole life policy loan to cover the window. Is this a lasting change? Adjust permanent coverage so long-term needs are covered. If you have permanent needs, you need to have permanent dollars to cover those needs. Do you have a paper trail? If the lender wants an assignment, keep it collateral only so it takes what's owed. The plan gets the rest. The bad version here, leaving coverage flat, not making any changes while debt doubles, or absolutely assigning the entire policy to the bank and starving the buy-sell contract for deed or equalization plan you meant to fund. What's the fix-it on this one? Name the debt and match the duration. Document collateral assignments. Set a reminder to revisit after harvest or at year end. All right, the final scenario. Planning for a grandchild with special needs. This listener wrote in, we want part of our policy to support a grandchild with special needs. How do we not accidentally hurt their benefits? The good version, use a special needs trust. Policy dollars go there. Trustee uses funds for care without disrupting grandchild's benefits. Keep simple instructions about quality of life and who you choose as helpers. The bad version, policy names a grandchild individually, payout risks disqualifying benefits, and triggers paperwork headaches. So here you may have great intention, but dollars landed in the wrong pocket. How do we fix this? Name the special needs trust as a beneficiary for the intended portion. Think of the special needs trust like a quality of life fund. It's not there to replace government benefits. It's there to cover everything that the benefits miss. When I manage special needs trusts, I've seen them used for travel expenses, tutoring, special therapies not covered by their government care, a new wheelchair van, purchase a computer, or even just hobbies that add quality of life. This type of trust lets you bless that child for a lifetime while protecting their benefits and keeping the rest of your plan coordinated so your family still receives what you've intended. All right, here's a quick lightning round before we wrap up. I'm going to read 4 mini snapshots. I'll say keep, fix, or ditch, and why. Number 1, term policy for $1 million. Covers the operating line, expires next year. The debt is still high. Should we keep, fix, or ditch this? My suggestion would be to fix. Extend the term if the cost doesn't outweigh the need, or add a permanent policy to match the debt window and future needs. Scenario number 2, permanent policy naming the spouse directly, but plan says the trust equalizes siblings. Should we keep, fix, or ditch? I would suggest to fix, changing the beneficiary to the trust and write the equalization schedule. Number 3, cross-purchase agreements, but the LLC owns the policies. Should we keep, fix, or ditch? This one could be a couple of different ways. You could fix or ditch and replace. Align your documents and the ownership and beneficiaries to the structure you really want. So this is going to depend on a case-by-case scenario. And the last one is number 4, key person policy from 10 years ago. Amount is tiny. Think of the Aunt Linda role I talked about in the past podcasts. But that Aunt Linda role has now doubled since the 80s. She was a bookkeeper that kept the books in line. Should we keep, fix, or ditch? This is an easy fix. Update the face amount and add a written what this pays for memo. All right, now grab the policy ownership and beneficiary map in the show notes and write one true sentence for each policy that you own. This policy pays how much to who to cover what bill or what outstanding debt. If you can't fill in the blanks on these toolbox tips, tell me where you're stuck. Drop your farm planning questions in an email to me at Heidi@PathfinderLegacy.com. Thanks for joining me today on the Pathfinder Legacy Podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, share it with a friend or a business farm family. And if you're ready to start the conversation, let's talk. Book a 30-minute discovery call. You can connect with me at PathfinderLegacy.com. Until next time, I'll see you between the ditches.
Thanks for listening to the Pathfinder Legacy Podcast, where your future is our focus. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on social media, and visit us at PathfinderLegacy.com to start building your transition plan today.